Okay, good. So we asked we received lots of questions from the residents, and we've grouped them into 10 topics. So the first question is on the location. So if I read the question, and then I'll stop sharing my screen and Lidl's people can answer. So the orchard site is neither part of an out-of-town commercial area nor near the central transport hub of Ruislip. It's within a residential area and seems smaller than other nearby stores with no flexibility for expansion in the future. So we have two questions. What was Lidl's criteria in selecting this site? And please, if you could, provide a comparison of the size of the proposed store and the number of parking spaces against the stores in Pinner, South Ruislip and Uxbridge.
Thanks, Daniel. I'm going to ask Stefan from Lidl and Richard, one of our planning consultants, to answer the first question. I think Stefan then can give you some ideas about the actual other stores around the area and numbers of parking, etc. at the same time. So, Stefan and Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Good evening, everybody. My name is Stefan Davis, Senior Acquisition Manager for Lidl, and I'm responsible for acquisitions in the North West London region. Ruislip was chosen as an opportunity after consultation through various different requirements that we have, over 70 in our region. Specifically, Ruislip was chosen because it's got a certain catchment of 20,000 people who live in the local area, and there is an obvious lack of store in Ruislip town centre. Now, this store benefits from great parameters, close proximity to Ruislip town centre, but also more importantly, it allows us to build our standard footprint, which is something that we are very keen to do. It's in close proximity to our South Ruislip store, which is of similar sizing, similar car, so it's less car parking, but similar size footprint store, which allows us to provide our full range. From a planning perspective, I think I'll let Richard touch upon, but I think it's close proximity to town centre, close proximity to the residents is something that's a real draw for this particular site.
So, yeah, Richard Hewson, planning consultant for Lidl. So in terms of the location, obviously this is a previously employment site, which is still operational. In planning terms, there are criteria that you have to look at in terms of site selection. So obviously from planning perspective, you always need to look at town centre sites first, then you go to edge of centre, and then you go to outer centre. And as part of our proposal, we have to do a sequential impact assessment to seek whether there are sites available in close proximity to that hierarchy. So obviously first we'd always look at town centre sites, then we look at edge of centre, which is 300 metres away from the town centre, and then edge of sites. And through our site selection process, there are no sites at the present time that can fit the criteria for a food store of this size. So therefore, from a planning perspective, this is a site that is available, plus obviously the existing uses that have been on the site. It does pose it as the most appropriate site at the present time to come forward.
And Stefan, did you want to just comment on the parking about the other stores?
I think Grant, were you going to touch upon that, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I can touch upon it. Let me just share my screen. Give us a second. So hi everyone, Grant Shulton. I had property at Lidl. Good, thank you all for joining, and good to see some familiar faces from the public consultation we did a couple of months back. So can you see my screen with the PowerPoint slide?
Yep.
We can, yeah.
So the proposed store details are at the bottom. So the GIA of this store is 1,825 square meters, and we have 72 car parking spaces in total. You'll see it's actually the car parking, like Stefan touched upon, is lower than the other sites, but actually in London, anything above 50 for us is pretty good, and we have the data to suggest that there's ample car parking spaces once you have over 50 of those spaces. In terms of size, I think some of the comments were that the site's not big enough for us, but actually, as you can see from the other comparables within Hillingdon and I guess around the Ruislip area, it sits quite neatly in the middle. It's about an average. So we're quite happy with the size store. It's standard spec, like Stefan said, and I think the initial question included a comment in regards to an extension, which we wouldn't be looking to do in this instance, because we get the standard store size that we want.